Hello, this is H.G. Tudor, and in this video I'm going to discuss the fact of you're hurt, the narcissist's happy. What's going on? Many people find the greatest level of hurt arises from the romantic entanglement with our kind. Where we have disengaged from you, and some people use the word discarded, we have got rid of you, albeit temporarily, and moved on. When we disengage from you, in most occasions, we have moved on to somebody else where your engagement with us was of a romantic nature. The majority of narcissists are of the lesser and mid-range variety, and their fuel needs are such that they will require a primary source. Sometimes that primary source is non-intimate, a family member. Sometimes even a friend. But more usually, it's of the intimate variety. Wife, husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, partner, cohab, etc. The bulk of the fuel needs of the narcissist are met through this primary source. The need for character traits and residual benefits being met by them also. And therefore, the title of primary source indicates that this individual is the most important and fundamental person in the fuel matrix of the narcissist. Disengagement from this individual is not done lightly. Sometimes it occurs because the victim has committed a heinous and most atrocious act. Exposure, for example, or they have completely ceased to function, they have a breakdown. But the most common basis for disengagement is we found somebody better than you. And because our fuel needs have to be met repeatedly and in a continual nature, we must segue from one primary source to another. And that means you, as the former intimate partner primary source, are jettisoned, disengaged from, and somebody else replaces you in the blink of an eye. Often, you may not even realize you've been disengaged from. And sometimes you only learn about this when you find out that the narcissist is swanning around town with somebody else. Occasionally, the narcissist may do you the favour of telling you that it's over, only then to be seen with somebody else in a matter of moments. Invariably, you find yourself lying in the dust, hurt not only as a consequence of the devaluation that would have occurred through your interaction with the narcissist, but as a consequence of the disengagement that you've suffered, being cast to one side so callously, and then to add insult to injury, you learn that we are with somebody else, and invariably we moved on to them very quickly indeed. The reality is that for most narcissists, your replacement was already being teed up whilst the narcissist was with you. And instinctively, the narcissist will have felt that now was the time to switch from you to this new person. Thus, you are disengaged from, and the new person is crowned as the intimate partner primary source. You are smeared. The narcissist tells other people that you're an alcoholic, or frigid, or controlling, that you didn't help out around the house, that you were abusive, that you never let the narcissist do anything, that you'd let yourself go. All of these comments are designed to explain to third parties why the shift has been made, to put you in a bad light, to blame you, of course. They're also done to justify to the new primary source why you were kicked to the curb. The smearing may well be based upon a grain of truth arising from, quite possibly, difficulties that you have experienced, so that you have perhaps let yourself go a little, or that you did become rather awkward with the narcissist, but only as a consequence of the treatment you were being subjected to. More usually, of course, These problems arise wholly from the narcissistic perspective, whereby, from the narcissist perspective, you were the problem, but viewed from an alternative empathic perspective, you actually did nothing wrong. So there you find yourself hurt. You're counting the cost, which might be financial. You may well have lost friends as a consequence of the behaviour of the narcissist. We like to isolate you from people who might interfere in our control of you, or because we monopolise your time, friends gave up on engaging with you. They may even have seen what we were and tried to warn you, and of course not understanding what narcissism is and your rampant emotional thinking meant that you didn't listen to them. Therefore they gave up and left you to your own devices. Your attempts to try and make things work with us may well have led you to neglect your own work. Or you have been ground down so hard that your performance at work or as a parent has suffered also. You may well have had the misfortune to suffer physical injury, loss of assets. And invariably there will be sadness, dejection, anger, a feeling of being used, belittled, and ultimately how totally unfair it all is. All of these reactions and responses are entirely natural and understandable, but they are dangerous. Why are they dangerous? Because your emotional thinking, which wants to cause you to continue your engagement with the narcissist so it feeds your innate addiction to the narcissist, will seize upon these emotions, corrupt them, and turn them against you in order to make you engage further with the narcissist. This engagement might just be repeatedly thinking about the narcissist or talking about the narcissist with your friends, going over and over what has happened, trying to work out what has happened, what the narcissist might be doing, why he or her behaved as he or she did. It might be that you try to do things for the narcissist, or more often that you try to communicate with the narcissist, spend time with the narcissist again, either to help, to find out why you've been treated that way, if there is any hope for reconciling matters, for improving things. And accordingly, all your emotional thinking wants to do is make you engage with the narcissist. It does not care about your welfare. It has one aim and one aim only, and that is to feed your addiction. And it will achieve that as best it can. Often it is subtle, insidious, and difficult to detect. For instance, it will seize upon your anger by causing you to want to get even with the narcissist, to want to cause problems for the narcissist. But that offends the first golden rule of freedom. Once you know, you go, you get out and stay out. So by continuing to fight with the narcissist to try and make his or her life hell, all you're doing is engaging. You will invariably be giving fuel to the narcissist, and you will continue to maintain your emotional thinking at a high level. Thus you lose insight, you do not listen to logic, and you continue with this ongoing battle with the narcissist. It might be, for instance, that you're owed money, and your emotional thinking tells you that it's unfair, that you need this money, that you should recover it, and therefore you should approach the narcissist to look at a way of recovering that money from the narcissist. It might be to make you jealous. Why is the narcissist with this person? You're good looking, you cared for the narcissist, you loved the narcissist, you looked after him or her, you took an interest in everything they did, you were great in bed, you were kind, you were caring, you ran a good household, you had a good job, you were a catch, and look who they're with now. Surely that can't be right, and so your emotional thinking causes you to want to compete with that individual. It tells you to heal the injury you've suffered, the dent to your self-esteem, and why should that person potentially be happy with the narcissist? You should be. You should get that golden period. Your emotional thinking may seize on your empathic trait of justice and say how unfair all of this is, urging you to tell the narcissist what a douchebag he is, what a bitch she is, to take them to task, to point out how they've hurt you, to ask them what the hell they were thinking, to make them see and realise that you're a good person and their treatment of you was utterly reprehensible. It might be to con you into telling other people about the way the narcissist behaved. Let everybody know what an out-and-out bastard he is, that he's a player, that she is a user. It might be to cause you to want to warn the new IPPS. Do you realise who you're with? Do you realise what he is? Again, all of this offends the first golden rule of freedom and is designed to make you engage. Your feelings are, of course, genuine, albeit predicated on an illusion. You formed an attachment to the narcissist. That is what you do as an empathic individual. And therefore, all of this hurt is real, is genuine, and debilitating. What you must do is lessen that feeling and reduce it to a position of zero impact. So you don't hate the narcissist. You don't want to get even. You don't feel pity. You don't feel sad about the narcissist. You feel absolutely nothing. How do you achieve that? You implement no contact. By implementing no contact, first of all, you remove yourself from the unpleasant and abusive behaviours. Invariably, when you have been disengaged from, you're being given a head start by the narcissist. He or she doesn't want anything to do with you anymore. It is only in the rarest of instances that a narcissist will continue to hoover you when he or she has a new intimate partner primary source. For the majority of narcissists, being less from mid-range, all their needs are being met by this new wonderful person they're infatuated with. You are persona non grata. Yes, it hurts, but the fact that they want nothing more to do with you gives you a head start on your no contact. It enables you to build it. It enables you to have that period of recovery so that you lessen your emotional thinking, so that when that new person is devalued, and they will be devalued, and that is when there is a risk of you being hoovered, you are prepared, so that your no contact regime is so complete that the hoovers don't even get through, or if they do, your emotional thinking is reduced to such a low level that you don't respond to them. You don't send a text message back. You don't talk to the narcissist. You ignore and you walk away. You do not be civil. You do not be kind. You do not be caring. You do not be filled with hate and anger. You reach zero impact. All of those awful emotions of hurt, of anger, of distress, bewilderment, anxiety, they will pass. But the only way that you can reduce that hurt is to stay away from the very thing that caused that hurt, the narcissist. Your no contact must be complete, extensive, and robust. By doing that, you remove yourself from the awful behaviour. You master not talking about the narcissist. You ensure you're not thinking about the narcissist. And by reducing your emotional thinking, the unpleasant feelings and hurt that you have experienced will lessen. There is no magic pill that you can take to achieve this. Only you can do this. It takes application and willpower. And through consultation, I can provide you and arm you with the techniques to achieve this effectively. In a very short space of time, I can relay this information to you. What about the narcissist? Well, first of all, you must no longer care. You must no longer take an interest. It is not acceptable to wonder what he or she is doing. Who are they with? Are they happy? What are they doing with that person? Are they going to the places that they went to with you? Are they treating them well? Is it going wrong? Do not stalk them on social media. Do not hang around where they are. Do not ask other people to find out information for you. You have been made persona non grata by the narcissist. Return the favour. Hard as it may be, and as your truth seeker trait is corrupted and seized upon by your emotional thinking, causing you to try and get answers, to find out what has happened, you must resist that. You do not need to know anything about the narcissist. You do not need to know what he or she is doing. If you wish to understand, you utilise my work. They will not provide you with the answers. Yes, it is hard. You think to yourself, what is the harm in just checking on social media? That's not me contacting the narcissist. What harm is there in that? Well, the harm is your emotional thinking is conning you by telling you there's no harm in it. There is. You are continuing the engagement. You are allocating your time and energy to a person who does not deserve it. You are maintaining your emotional thinking. And by maintaining that emotional thinking, you creep ever closer to the danger line, whereby you tip into the loss of insight. And no matter how robust you might think you are, if you keep maintaining some form of engagement with our kind, you will eventually lose insight and be ensnared once again. That might be returning into the arms of the narcissist, or trying to be friends, or fighting with the narcissist. Make them invisible. Forget about them. During this initial period, it's highly unlikely you will be hoovered. Why is that? Well, if you impose a no-contact regime, you will not cause any hoover triggers. The only hoover triggers will be if the narcissist happens to think about you or is reminded of you, and that will happen, but will not happen often. But even if that does happen, that does not mean that a hoover will follow. The hoover execution criteria have to be met, and in nearly all instances where the narcissist is in a new golden period with a new intimate partner primary source, that acts to prevent the narcissist hoovering you. He or she has no need. You have been effectively deleted. The narcissist is having all of his or her needs met by this new, wonderful, sensational person. If you, however, keep trying to contact the narcissist, you enter our spheres of influence. We don't want you. You let us down. You're painted black. You'll be ignored, but if you persist, you will then invite a malign hoover, where you are told, in no uncertain terms, to stay away from me, you crazy psycho bitch, or stop stalking me, mister. Just let it go, you're obsessed with me. It will be unpleasant, you'll be called names, you'll be threatened with restraining orders, the calling of the police, etc. And thus, you will receive that malign hoover. An unfortunate few may find themselves on the receiving end of a malice campaign which will originate from the greater narcissist. The majority of narcissists, as I have explained, are lesser and mid-range. They are too focused on their fuel needs and the new primary source. They lack the ability and the energy levels to undertake this malice campaign. They need the low-hanging fruit. The greater, however, driven by pure sheer malice, even though the greater has a new primary source, may well determine that you are to be destroyed. This is rare, but it does happen. And in those instances, the malice obsession that the narcissist has with you causes repeated hoover triggers, and, powered by the fuel being provided by the new intimate partner primary source, the greater will come after you again and again and again, hoovering as part of this malice campaign. I emphasize, however, this is rare, and do not mistake the occasional malign hoover as representing a malice campaign. They are not the same thing. But what of the narcissist? He's swanning around. He looks happy. You may well be told this by other people, have seen the posts on social media because you've not yet been able to control your emotional thinking. And of course, all of that hurts. It isn't fair. How come he can be so happy? How can he move on so quickly? How could he do all of these things to you? How could she have said that she loved you and then immediately be with somebody else? How could she have cheated on you? We can do this because we have no attachment to you. We attach you to us. We do not attach to you. Our narcissism means we don't attach in that way to enable us to move on swiftly. We have no guilt, no remorse, no conscience in that regard. We have not been built, if you will, with those matters, so that we can operate in an effective fashion and move from one primary source to another in the blink of an eye. You may well be subjected to the relationship bulletins that are being provided by the narcissist. The endless posts on Instagram showing him grinning arm around the new capture. She posting about the new holiday that she has gone with this new primary source. The memes about love and finding a wonderful soulmate, and it will sicken you and hurt you. It hurts, you're sad, they appear to be happy. That's not fair. But is the narcissist happy? No. We don't do happiness. We don't actually know what it is. But if that is the case, how is it that we appear happy? The smiles, the laughs, the huge confidence, the swagger. All that is the effect of the massive amounts of positive fuel that we are receiving from the intimate partner primary source. The outward expression of delight, joy, happiness, smiling, laughing is merely a learned response, because, as you know, we mimic. Thus, when we appear happy, all it is an outward expression of that which you interpret as being happiness, joy, delight, elation. It is not. What it is merely something that has been powered by fuel which makes us feel burgeoning, engorged, powerful. But understand this. Beneath that, inside, remains that yawning chasm, that huge emptiness which day after day the narcissist must fill. Now, for us graters, it is not such an issue. We keep the yawning void at bay the majority of the time and do so successfully, but we are extremely rare. The narcissist that you will have engaged with will most likely have been lesser or mid-range, and do realise this. He or she, whilst not knowing what he or she is, whilst not knowing what the void is, will feel that restlessness, that emptiness, that impending sense of doom and oblivion, and they are fighting against it each and every day as they seek out fuel. Whilst they may appear to be on a sun lounger with pina colada, grinning and lapping it all up, inside they're churning. Their narcissism is looking and yearning and craving the next hit of fuel. And with lesser and mid-range being less polished versions of the narcissistic kin, this can lead to that haphazard and awkward lifestyle, particularly amongst the lesser and lower mid-ranger. In that hunt for fuel, they will annoy people, irritate people, cause arguments. Yes, all may be rosy in the garden of love with the intimate partner primary source. But there is no contentment. There is no satisfaction. There is that ongoing thirst for fuel. You are hurt, broken, bewildered, confused. You're in pain. But through the application of my work and a rigid adherence to my direction, you will apply logic, you will move forward and you will recover. And ultimately, you will, through the passage of time, diminish your emotional thinking and put yourself in a place of recovery and ultimately good cheer once again. For I, as a creator, I have no issue. I am effective. I achieve. But for the narcissist you were involved with, realise you will return to a place of contentment, happiness and satisfaction. He or she will never achieve that. And keep that as watchword to your heart, as part of your ongoing work, as you battle against this pain now for the purposes of recovery. Apply logic. Fight your emotional thinking. But most of all, have regard to the work that I provide you with, the brutal truth, cool, hard logic. My work works. Apply it.